Hello, I am Dr. Strike the Sun, your two-time BookTube Federation champion, and I'm here to share a Yiddish folk tale from the Pantheon Fairy Tale and Folklore Library, edited by Beatrice Silverman Weinreich and translated by Leonard Wolf. I've been going through this, and I've been enjoying it, much like the other collections that I own, and I thought it would be good to finally share yet another folk tale, this time from Yiddish traditions. So, this one is called Naked Truth and Resplendent Parable. The great scholar known as the Vilna Gaon once asked the preacher of Dubno, "Help me to understand, what makes a parable so influential? If I recite Torah, there's a small audience, but let me tell a parable and the synagogue is full. Why is that?" The Dubner Maggid replied, "I'll explain it to you by means of a parable. Once upon a time, Truth went about the streets as naked as the day he was born. As a result, no one would let him into their homes. Whenever people caught sight of him, they turned away or fled. One day, when Truth was sadly wandering about, he came upon Parable. Now, Parable was dressed in splendid clothes of beautiful colors. And Parable, seeing Truth, said, 'Tell me, neighbor, what makes you look so sad?' Truth replied bitterly, 'Ah, brother, things are bad, very bad. I'm old, very old, and no one wants to acknowledge me. No one wants anything to do with me.' Hearing that, Parable said, 'People don't run away from you because you're old. I too am old, very old. But the older I get, the better people like me. I'll tell you a secret. Everyone likes things to be disguised and prettied up a bit. Let me lend you some splendid clothes like mine, and you'll see that the very people who pushed you aside will invite you into their homes and be glad of your company.' Truth took Parable's advice and put on the borrowed clothes, and from that time on, Truth and Parable have gone hand in hand together, and everyone loves them. They make a happy pair." So, this is a cool little story about Truth and Parable, and I really quite enjoy that. I like that it has a frame around the story, right? It's two people talking about Truth and Parable, and then in the story, the person is telling another story about how sometimes people, well, in this case, all the time, people don't like to hear these hard, ugly truths. They need things to be prettied up, and then they'll accept and want to learn from the truth and these kind of things. I think it's a really cool way to tell the story. I really like the frame around it, and I think that it... Oh, how true it rings. How silly that sounds. People often don't want to hear the truth. Maybe they can't accept, say, criticism or something like that, or they can't accept historical fact, for example, because of their mindset. But maybe, just maybe, you can put it to them in a way that helps them understand. That doesn't necessarily have to be the cold, hard logic of things. In a way, I think, in this sense, parables likely are not meant to be logical stories, but get to the heart of the matter, so to speak, and get to the heart of how people feel and respond and react, and through that opens a door to access all kinds of wealth of knowledge, of truth, and that kind of thing. I'm blabbering, but this has been a Yiddish folk tale. What do you think of Naked Truth and Resplendent Parable? I'd like to know. Did I blab on and say something false? I would never. But this has been a Yiddish folk tale from the Pantheon Fairy Tale and Folklore Library. Thank you.